Good morning, Steve.
Good morning.
And everybody else. It's a day.
It's a Friday.
It's a Firearms Friday.
Yes, indeedy.
Now, before we get started, I got a couple of pieces. One, like Cameron and I were just saying, the coffee we're drinking this morning came from a co-op that we do, and I have never in my life been more ready to run out of coffee.
Mike is too quiet, says Steve.
Oh, well then. How's that? You know what? I'll just turn the bastard up. All right. So, I've never in my life been more ready to run out of coffee. Okay, fine. So
I just want to be in the shot.
Cameron's going to be too loud, and I'll just have to speak up because, well, the mic. It's the mounting.
Speaking up's not a problem for you, buddy.
No, not at all. And I make this coffee in the morning, and I think, this is Seattle's best. Yeah, I can believe that. But, news. Apparently, I'm going to Macon today. As of yesterday, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I was not planning on going to Macon today. But our boy Patrick will be here to pick me up in a little bit, and we're going to the Trump rally in Macon. I will be there. The thing opens at 2. I think the doors open at 1:30, something like that. The doors open at 2. The event starts at like 3, and I believe the president speaks at 7. So it's gonna be a day. It's gonna be like going to a damn. It's gonna be like going to Big Day Out without the mosh pits. Which, let's be real. I'm probably too old for mosh pits, but I miss them.
Yeah.
I miss them a lot.
So, Zaluska's here. Before we get started, I just have to give him a shout out. The troll, I look like I could ride in and rescue a princess. That was funny stuff, sir.
Oh, and Zaluska sent me a message on Facebook day before yesterday or day before yesterday, one, and just so that the rest of you can suffer in crypticis, I'll say this, Zaluska, we should definitely talk about that soon. And yes. So, I'll be at the Trump rally today. That means that the midday stream that we've done all week, that we were planning on doing every day this week, is not going to happen the same way that it's happened the rest of the week. Instead, what's going to happen is I will have the 360 camera on a stand, and I'll be walking around with my White House press credentials hanging around my neck, and I'll have the 360 camera up on a stand, and I'll bolt my cell phone to the side of it so I can live stream from that, and I will pop up and down. I'll pop up on Facebook and YouTube back and forth and just give you updates on what's going on. Some of the time I'll just be running the camera, recording and not streaming, and actually doing like one-on-one man-on-the-street type interviews with people. That's largely because the microphone on the 360 cam it's good if it's not loud, but I expect there's going to be a lot of noise, so I'll be relying on the Zoom handy mic. That thing just cuts out all the noise and gets nice, good, clean audio. So I'll have a mix of the live stuff and some recorded interviews, which we'll publish later. And yeah, buddy. So it is Friday, and what do we do on Friday? We do well. Cameron, I'm going to have to hide you for a minute. We're going to have to give some thought to how we operate this stream when Cameron's in the studio, because, well, let's be real. I don't really get tired of hiding Cameron's face. I mean, it's fair. So we've got a story out of Durham, North Carolina, from the 13th. 2 people were shot during a home invasion Tuesday night in Durham. Police said the home invasion happened along the 900 block of Chalk Level Road. Police said 3 men entered the premises and began shooting. 2 were shot. 1 returned fire. The suspects fled scene by known means.
I'm glad you guys know.
Yeah, glad you know. No further information was released yet. So, this is not an ideal story. It does highlight that. I mean, even recently when the DRTs have been less plentiful, and I think we'll speculate on that a little bit. But even with the DRTs being less plentiful as people are less and less active during the pandemic situation, it's still very much the case that you should own a firearm to protect your home and to protect yourself. I mean, this October 13th, 2020, people are still attempting to conduct armed home invasions. And there are states that do not have castle doctrine or stand your ground laws where your legal situation gets much muddier if you have to defend yourself even in your own home. Tim Pool, for example, has explained several times that New Jersey is a must-retreat state. You're required to retreat as much as possible, and you basically what that means is that if you have to defend yourself with any weapon, let alone a firearm, and the result is fatal, when you get into the courtroom and you try to make the self-defense argument, one of the standards that they're going to hold you to is that you retreated as much as humanly possible, which is an absurd standard. I'm already in my home.
Yeah, how much more retreat could I retreat if I already retreat the retreat?
I mean, if I'm out on patrol and I get ambushed, maximum retreat is back to base. I mean, if the situation gets super desperate, then you might end up with a Black Hawk Down situation. But back to base, RTB, that's retreat. If you get attacked in the base, at the base, that's it.
Great comment from Steve. Sorry, Judge, I'm allergic to being shot in the back.
Yeah. It's like a tree nut allergy, but lead.
And a little bloodier. Still, though, even with speculation on this, like, this kind of has the whiff
I
of...
was afraid I'd break out in bullet wounds.
Even if we want to speculate on this story, this could entirely be one of those situations where, it was some gang members attempting to rob a drug dealer. And I've said it before and I've said it again. I actually really disagree with the concept of using a gun during a crime elevates the crime.
Agreed. The crime is the crime.
The crime is the crime. So even if this is a drug dealer defending himself from other drug dealers, I've said it before and I'll say it again, on a moral level, I'm okay with it. And I can hold that in the context of, well, okay, maybe you shouldn't be a drug dealer. Okay, fair enough. But you still have the right to not get robbed and shot at, even if you're a bad guy. It just is what it is.
Well, okay, so being a drug dealer, that's illegal right now. But there are jobs which are legal right now, which I don't think should be, because they're immoral. In fact, I would say that being a professional drug dealer is more moral than being a doctor who performs abortions. If you're a doctor who performs abortions, you are morally inferior to a drug dealer. And
yeah, because at least everything that happens with the drug dealer is
consensual.
Consensual, yeah. It's all voluntary.
Yeah, but consent isn't a factor in the thinking of people who are willing to murder their own children for the sake of their own convenience.
Oh yeah, just quick aside. I saw somebody post something today where they put something on Facebook about how Stevie Nicks had an abortion, and if she hadn't had that abortion, there would be no Fleetwood Mac.
I'm good with that.
Well,
I'd be okay without Fleetwood Mac.
Well, like her talent.
If it meant the saving of a life.
Well, like what? Her talent just disappears if she has a baby.
Right.
All those cigarettes and cocaine probably did more for that voice than anything she put in any other hole.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug. but yeah, so, but the point being that just because one profession is legal and the other is not does not make that profession morally different necessarily. Which is not to say that there are not moral differences between professions, but as long as there are professions which are immoral and also legal, right? I mean, it's legal to be a stripper under the right circumstances. In some states in the union, it's illegal to be a prostitute, and I'm okay with that. But there is a good argument to be made that those professions are less moral, less upstanding than, say, being an electrician or a plumber. Hell, plumbers have saved more lives. Any individual plumber has saved more lives than all doctors combined.
Yeah, that whole potable water thing.
But you could almost say the same for electricians. Electricians are slightly less life improving than plumbers, but that's a primordial conversation. And given that, then the question of the morality of the profession is shadowed by the question of the individual's right to life, liberty, and property. So, easy there. Saving just one life is also an anti-gunner argument. Oh, that, you know what, Steve? That's a good point. The gun grabbers do like to argue that if you could remove the firearms, you could save just one life. Here's the problem with that. If you don't murder a baby in the womb, that's a life you've saved. If you stop people that want to conduct a mass casualty event at a crowded location, if you stop them from having a gun, that does not prevent the mass casualty event. In fact, let me say this for those in the back. Mass casualty events are one of the easiest things in the world to achieve. You should thank the gods that most of our bad incidences involve a shooter firing a gun into a crowd instead of one that is creatively pursuing an actual mass casualty.
Yeah, just look at Timothy McVeigh.
Mass casualty, if your objective is to prevent mass casualties, let me be very clear on this. You have an unattainable objective.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to take it too dark, but it wouldn't be that hard to take a couple of gallons of gasoline and some rebar and, basically burn down a whole school with everybody inside of it. Like...
Yeah, we were talking about this a few weeks ago, and I won't even go down this road because I won't go too far down this road because I don't want to put too many ideas in anyone's head. But I mean, literally anybody with a basic technical understanding of the world who lives in a house that has a garage can probably conduct a mass casualty event without even having to go and acquire more materials. That's scary. So there's your anti-gun argument. Just completely beaten. Oh, if we could get all the guns away from people, there'd be no more mass shootings in high schools. Okay. Are you going to make all the kids stop driving cars? Or, I don't know, cleaning bathrooms? I mean, let's be real. Nobody's kids are cleaning the fucking bathrooms. But you've got the stuff, and you hope they'll do it. And the important part of that equation is you've got the stuff. So
Zaluska, yo, I was a plumber. Dude.
Yo!
We're not knocking plumbers.
No, he knows that.
Plumbers make good money. And seriously, I had one of my children's pediatricians tell me one time that he gets infuriated with the anti-vaxxers because in his learned opinion, and this was a guy that was a Marine and went to college and became a doctor after he got out of the service. He was in his 60s by the time he was one of my children's doctor. And he basically said, look, your kids need their vaccines. They need them on the schedule. And frankly, I don't want to hear any anti-vaxxer stuff. It makes me nuts. And I said, well, why does it bother you? And he said, because vaccines and potable water have saved billions of lives. Just period.
And just on to piggyback on that, don't forget, Kamala Harris is an anti-vaxxer.
Is she really?
She is now.
Oh, yeah. If the vaccine comes from Trump, then I don't want it.
If the vaccine comes from... Because she thinks Trump's down in his basement with test tubes.
It's like some Dexter's Laboratory situation. He's pulling the giant gloves on.
Donald's lab.
No.
Oh, God, I wish we had somebody on the crew that could do a good Trump impression. Go buy an orange wig and shoot that short film.
I mean, you know what's really confusing about that, though? She's never been afraid to get stuck by a man in power before.
Shoo, buddy. Oh. Okay, and yeah, okay, we're done with the comments, you guys. I think we're gonna have to wrap the show up now because, well, I've got to go get ready for a Trump rally, baby. Hoo-ah!
Yeah, Chris has to go get pretty, and that takes a minute.
I'm not gonna be much prettier than this, but I'll have a nice hat on. My nuts will be clean. All right, y'all be safe out there.